Fox Sports Set.
Cardinal Baseball from Pittsburgh is brought to you by Smooth Bush Beer and Easy Drinking Bush Light. By Auto Tire for straight talk and great service, you ought to go to Auto Tire. By Steak and Shake, real steak burgers and real milk milkshakes served 24 hours a day at Steak and Shake. And by Southwest Airlines, friendly nonstop service all across the country. Southwest Airlines, a symbol of freedom. You will notice that our graphics are down for this ball game, at least at the beginning of the game. We are working on it. We apologize. Al Rabosky, Dan McLaughlin with you. Our Bud Sports crew, as you get a look at David Eckstein, he'll lead things off for the Cardinals. It'll be Eckstein, Grudzielanek, Pujols here in the first, followed by Scott Rowland, Edmund Sanders, then Sho Taguchi, Yadier Molina, and Mark Mulder. The lineup brought to you by Southwest Airlines. And the pitcher tonight for Pittsburgh, a lefty, and Dave Williams.
26 years of age. He has 34 career major league starts, 8-15 during that time, but off to a very good start. 1-0 ERA of 1.59. This is his second start of the year. Really a short-arming left-hander. Doesn't throw particularly hard, but he is deceptive.
Advance Auto Parts starter is Dave Williams. This lefty, the Pirates started 4-8 here in 2005. The Cardinals have won 3 straight, and the first pitch is a ball inside to Eckstein, hitting .265 on the year. No homers and 1 RBI.
Tough series in Milwaukee for David, 1 for 10.
And he looks at his strike right down the middle. 1 ball, 1 strike.
But the Cardinals in general had a tough time against the Milwaukee pitching. They were only 20 for 100, a 200 average.
And if you're Tony La Russa, you're feeling pretty good about this team. Couple of reasons. You saw the top pitchers of Milwaukee in games 1 and 2. Then you had to come back and win it against their closer in game number 3. And they're winning games without producing the run totals that we saw from a year ago. Manufacturing wins, finding any kind of way to do it.
Well, that's what good teams do. Now their catcher Ross is going to go out and talk to Williams, kind of get him there, but David Eckstein once again working the count deep. 3-1 pitch, but Tony has to be very pleased. And the first person he'll tell you is the starting pitching kind of set the tempo. Throw up some zeros, let the offense have a chance to win, and the Cardinals are 4-1 on the road.
And by the way, congratulations to Tony La Russa, win number 800 as the Cardinals manager. Now just 22 back of Whitey Herzog for second place all time, and they're all chasing Red Shandies, the Hall of Famer. That was hit hard right at Ty Wigginton, the former Met. How about that? 800 Cardinal wins for Tony La Russa, and Red Shandies is at 1,041 for his career.
What do you think, Tony? You think the respect he has for Red, he'll get one win away from Red and they call it quits?
Not a chance. Not a chance. He respects him, but
not a chance.
Not a chance. Here's Mark Grudzielanek hitting .226. No homers, 2 RBIs. And he takes a strike from Dave Williams. Grudzielanek with one of the top defensive plays of the year on Friday night. The diving catch into shallow right field. And the 0-1 is in the dirt with Albert Pujols on deck. The Auto Tire defense with Wilson Bay and Matt Lawton in the outfield. Ty Wigginton, Jack Wilson on the left side of the infield. Freddie Sanchez, Darrell Ward on the right side, and David Ross is behind the plate.
Gap hitter. They expect him to hit it to right center.
Boy, there's all kinds of room into left center field here for Grudzielanek. And let me tell you, we've got a great vantage point to see it, because we're higher than those cameras that you're seeing that picture shot from right there. And there it is into left center field. Hustling out of the box, Grudzielanek. Wide turnaround first. He'll trot into second easily with a stand-up double with just 1 out here in the first.
I would play the outfielder straight away with Grudzielanek because he's a gap hitter, a doubles hitter. And here you see on the inner half, but the ball was up. See all of his movement going forward, but he sits there and has his hands hitting back. Jason Bay has to race into left center as he was playing in right center.
And it brings in Albert Pujols. He loves hitting at this ballpark. First pitch, little upstairs to Albert. Now, you touched upon something the other night that you know when Albert Pujols is not at 100% as far as when he's really seeing the ball well is how much he is pulling the ball. If he's going to make an out, you don't see a lot of outs right now hit to the opposite field.
Such a dangerous hitter. You can't stay in one area. Just pitch him inside, he will rip it to left field. You pitch away, he'll take it that way when he's going good. But what we talked about, so many ground balls to third base out in front.
Got a piece, 2 balls and a strike on Albert Pujols with Grudzielanek, the runner at second base. Albert hitting .275, 3 homers, 5 RBIs. In his 5th year in the major leagues. Off to the best start in the history of Major League Baseball.
First 4 are pretty impressive. Only player in Major League history with 30 or more home runs in each of his first 4 seasons.
Takes the pitch outside. 3-1.
Only a 3rd player in Major League history to collect 500 or more RBIs in his first 4 seasons. Joe DiMaggio, Ted Williams, the other 2.
Williams is set, and a 3-1 pitch coming to the dangerous Albert Pujols. Fooled him a little bit with that pitch. He swung through it. Full count.
He throws basically a fastball, changeup, and curveball. He's deceptive with his fastball. He'll sink balls, but he also will run the ball up on these hitters. A 4-seamer, and they just don't get a good look at it.
Here comes the 3-2. Albert. Vicious swing, fouled back. The sparse crowd here at PNC Park, literally there are sections without a body in them.
Charlie Sheen bought some of those sections so he could help guarantee a foul ball.
And poor Charlie never got that home run ball.
Right, remember in Anaheim?
Right. The 3-2. Albert to the opposite field. Into shallow right. Long way to go. Matt Lawton. He gets there, and back to second base goes Grudzielanek. Had him play so deep out there in the outfield. Took a while for Lawton to get there. Finally did. 2 outs, and it brings in Scott Rowland.
Good acquisition for the Pirates is Matt Lawton. 244 doesn't seem like much, but where he was after Friday night's game, about $1.25.
Talked with Scott today. I know Mike Shannon talked about it as well in his pregame show interview with the Cardinal third baseman. He said his head was moving all over the place, and when it's moving, you can't hit. Fastball in there for a strike. Scott Rowland hitting .244, 2 homers and 5 RBIs.
I wouldn't recommend my remedy for that in my golf game. You know, have a couple neck operations.
Yeah.
Keep your head still.
The neck brace as Rowland gets underneath this one, high in the air, left field. Craig Wilson, plenty of time to camp under it. He does. After the 1-out double by Grudzielanek, a pair of flyouts from Pujols and Rowland. No score midway through the first. No score, bottom of the first. The Pirates lineup brought to you by Southwest Airlines. A look there at Matt Lawton, their leadoff man, followed by the shortstop Jack Wilson and Jason Bay, the Rookie of the Year a season ago. Craig Wilson, the cleanup man, Darrell Ward, Freddie Sanchez, Ty Wigginton, David Ross, and Dave Williams. The pitcher batting ninth. Mark Mulder, 0-1 on the season. 11 innings he has thrown, allowed 20 hits, and he has not been sharp in his first 2 starts.
Batters batted over 400 against him. Left-handers over 500, 5 for 10. But I think they've worked on a few things, trying to help him out a little bit. And I know Mark would love to show us what we all think that it's going to be the end results.
That pitch at 91 miles an hour to start this game for Mulder. A lot of people have been talking about his velocity or lack thereof, and I talked to some of the Cardinal people, and they said his velocity's fine. That's not a problem at all.
Yeah, I mean, you know, when people start saying, well, he's not throwing 93, 96, something like that, he never was. You know, he would occasionally throw 193, but he would live with his fastball around that 90, 91 mark. 1
ball, 1 strike on Lawton. These two know each other from the American League. Lawton, 7 years with Minnesota. Then he was traded to New York, then traded back to the American League, 3 years with the Indians, and came over in an off-season deal for Arthur Rhodes from the Indians this past December. A leadoff man. Normally this spot occupied by Jason Kendall. No longer. Pulled foul. I'm going to miss seeing Jason Kendall. Guy that hustles, plays the game the right way, now with the Oakland A's. And he was the captain of this Pirates team for a long time.
And making about anywhere from 25 to 30% of their money.
Signed that 6-year, $60 million contract. When they moved into this new ballpark in 2001, they decided to lock up some players, and Kendall was one of them. Brian Giles another. Those two no longer here. Up the middle. Backhanded play. Grudzielanek settles. Strong throw to Pujols. Nicely done by the Cardinals second baseman.
That's what you're going to expect to see from Mulder, is ground balls. Now, amongst those 20 hits that he's allowed, several have been ground balls that got through the infield. And even in that last start, remember, there were a couple balls that he deflected himself. So the damage could have been minimized with a couple plays made behind him.
There's Jack Wilson, all-star season ago, the Silver Slugger Award winner at shortstop in the National League. The former Cardinal farmhand came to the Pirates in a deal for Jason Christensen, who's now with San Francisco. Scott Rowland is even with the bag at third. Wilson does not have great speed, but he's one of the best bunters in the National League, in particular at sacrificing.
The way you educate yourself at the big league level, have some success with sacrificing men over. Find a niche there, and then it's a fundamentally sound approach to hitting. You know, keep things real basic.
Two balls and a strike. Into center. Two down. Wilson is the second out, and it brings in Jason Bay. Jason Bay from British Columbia. Played his college ball at Gonzaga. Had 35 home runs in 2 seasons in college, and that woke a lot of people up to just how good this guy could be.
Really off to a torrid start against left-handed pitching.
Overall hitting .280. That's good to see there. Mulder trying to go inside on a right-handed hitter, something that they feel, the Cardinals, said he has not done in his first 2 starts.
Too many times when he was, missing with the ball up and away, but he also had a tendency, guys were getting hits on balls down and away, and just felt like he wasn't keeping them honest inside.
2-0 pitch. Just missed inside. 3-0. Craig Wilson, the cleanup man, on deck.
3-0. You've got a guy that's batting .538 against left-handers, .189 against right-handed pitching.
In there for a strike. 3 balls, 1 strike on Bay. The rookie of the year in the National League a season ago.
Sinker.
Hit to short. Eckstein is there. Good start here for Mulder. The pick by Pujols over at first. Nicely done. And the Pirates go 1-2-3 in their half of the first. Cardinals will have Edmonds, Sanders, and Taguchi coming up. Top of the second here in Pittsburgh. No score between the Cards and the Pirates. Edmonds will lead things off for St. Louis against the left-hander Dave Williams. One final in Major League Baseball. Boston beat Toronto 12-7. Curt Schilling with the win, and Curt Schilling's wife finished the Boston Marathon along with Mike Timlin's wife this afternoon. Edmonds hitting .269, 3 home runs and 7 RBIs. Chicago has jumped out to a 4-0 lead on Cincinnati. We'll see the Cubbies on Wednesday night.
That's Belisle pitching against them. Remember, his last start he went 92 pitches. Kind of wondered about that. He was giving up 4 runs, including a monster blast over the center field backdrop to Derek Lee.
Count of 2-0 on Edmonds.
Might have pushed his pitch count a little too high.
Edmonds into center field. Well hit. Bay going back at the wall. He looks up, and it is gone. Carries out of here for his 4th home run. Jim Edmonds goes deep here in the 2nd. And the Cardinals lead it 1-0. The way that Bay was going back, it looked like he thought at one point out he might be able to just catch that without even getting back to the wall, and it just kept carrying further and further out.
High ball hitter, he gets the ball out there, extends it, sends Bay back. He kept on drifting back, finds the wall, and it goes right over the fence. I think Jason would tell you when that ball was first hit, yeah, he probably was going to catch it, but it just kept on carrying on it.
And here is Reggie Sanders, little blooper into right field. That drops for a hit. Back-to-back hits for St. Louis to start this 2nd inning, and the 3rd this evening for the Cards.
Home run allowed off the bat of Edmonds, the first one allowed by Williams, but I almost got a feeling that this offense, because they know what's at stake for Mulder, kind of get him to relax, goes out there, he gets 1, 2, 3 first inning. And now all of a sudden they may be relaxed, saying, hey, we can just relax and just have some fun tonight.
Here's Taguchi. And he looks at a fastball and a strike, hitting .375, 1 home run and 2 RBIs. So is playing right field tonight. Larry Walker on the bench. And Walker did not play on Saturday either, so getting some rest. As So hits this into right field. Lawton won't get it. It's to the wall. Sanders around 2nd. Sanders being waved home. He's going to score. Taguchi on his way to 3rd base. He's in there with an RBI triple, and it's 2-0 Cardinals.
You know, Taguchi is so sound, fundamentally great addition to put in for defense late in the game, but he is really contributing offensively now. 4 for 9 on the young season, already his 3rd RBI, and what a difference the way he drives the ball now from when he first showed up in spring training 4 years ago, and really you thought he was swinging a wet Sporting News. Reggie off to the horses. He could see that right in front of him. He could tell he was going to plug the gap, make it real easy. So too could have the play pretty much in front of him.
From your playing experience, you were part of some very good teams. You played on some bad teams. In that Pirate dugout right now, after watching what's happened the last couple of years with the Pirates, losing against St. Louis, how much, even though it's early, how much though do you all of a sudden say, here we go again?
All right, you've got to guard against it, but it's just a common fact that sometimes these guys have to learn how to win, and you've got to fight for those wins before you can do it, on the field. Cardinals are getting back to that feeling that they don't know how they're going to do it or who the star is going to be, but they know they'll end up with a W. And other teams, even when they have a lead, just say, I don't know how we're going to blow it, but we know we're going to lose it.
Here's Molina, 1 for 29 on the season. That's a big RBI out there for this team, and personally for Molina, looking for his 1st.
And you just want him to relax. You know he's pressing. He's trying to hold his end of the bargain. And yet Tony will say if he doesn't get another hit, he'll do his job behind the plate.
Count of 1 ball, 2 strikes. Pitcher on deck and Mark Mulder. Cardinals have jumped out to a 2-0 lead. Spin Williams came out after that triple by Taguchi to settle down his young left-hander. Also, I'm sure, to tell him about Molina's struggles. Again, reiterate, it's the number 8 man in this lineup. He's struggling. Then you've got the pitcher, so a chance to get out of this thing.
You could take 2 different approaches. You come out there and say, look, you're going to get these quick outs. You're going to get at least 2 outs with these guys. Or you sit there and don't think about that batting average. Show respect to him and pitch.
And Yachty pops it up. Freddie Sanchez back on the outfield grass, and he makes the play. And the struggles continue for Molina. That's the first out, and it brings in Mark Mulder.
We're saying Oquendo is going to see the depth, and he's going to say, hey, take off, get your lead, but don't even think about it. Don't even tag up, because it's only 1 out. Mulder can drive him in. Don't do something careless.
Jim Edmonds got things going with a solo home run. to start this top of the second. Then it was a base hit by Sanders. He was driven in by Taguchi. Pop out by Molina. And now Mulder. Looks at a strike. Mark Mulder can handle the bat. A hitter in college at Michigan State. And drafted as a pitcher, obviously, by the Oakland A's. He served as their DH numerous times. Out in front of that pitch, 0-2.
Well, something about going to the American League and taking the bat out of your hands. The few times you get it in interleague play. I think he only has one career hit, but in college was a better hitter than that.
That just missed. 1 ball and 2 strikes.
I always think about the squeeze with a guy like Taguchi there. The one thing that you don't have the advantage of having a right-handed batter. They can throw it real wide and throw it right up the line.
Mulder stays in there on the breaking ball and hits it into the seats, out of play. A ball and 2 strikes on the pitcher, Mark Mulder. Chance to help himself. Cardinals lead it 2-0. Swing and a miss, and the first strikeout of the night for Dave Williams. Back to the top of the order, David Eckstein lined out to third his first time up.
If David can't pick up Mulder and Molina and drive into Taguchi with 2 outs.
Had an interesting conversation with David prior to the game about facing National League pitching, and he said he talked to Mr. Lee of the Milwaukee Brewers, who's dealing with the same thing, coming over, playing in a new league. He said there's no doubt about it. We are seeing more fastballs than we ever saw in the American League. And even though guys change leagues, you have interleague play, but that's always historically been the case. Lee was saying he couldn't believe it. On 2-0 he's getting fastballs.
Now, pitching has evolved a little bit and has changed, but it was really a different philosophy in the American League where they'd rather walk somebody than give up a hit. With the National League, you'd rather give up a hit than a walk.
Eckstein lines it into the seats.
So that's why you see more challenging of hitters in this league. And even if somebody tells you it, until you really see it, you don't believe it.
Right. David said he's probably seen about 70% fastballs in his time thus far in the National League. Dan McLaughlin, Al Hrabosky, and Joe Goldberg with you on FSN Midwest. They caught a piece of the bat. Also talked to him about being a 2-strike hitter, and he says the reason that I succeeded this and I can excel at being a 2-strike hitter, he said, I enjoy it. He said I don't get too nervous when I have 2 strikes on me. He said the other times when I have 1 strike on me or no strikes, that's when I'm a little bit more nervous than with 2 strikes. There's nothing to lose.
See it hit right off the end of the bat, the knob on the handle. Of course, with him choking up, he does that all the time, not just with 2 strikes. He's really not in danger of pinching a finger.
1-2 pitch. Eckstein is hit by the pitch. So with a ball and 2 strikes, Williams hits the leadoff man. And it brings in Grudzielanek, who doubled into left center field his first time up.
David knows all about being hit by pitches, but right around the ankle.
He twice led the American League in hit by pitches. Conference on the mound. Eckstein at first. So Taguchi, the runner at third base. Cardinals would love a 2-out hit here. Grudzielanek, kind of a quiet guy, just goes about his business. The everyday second baseman for the Cards.
They've changed the defensive alignment for him a little bit now. With Jason Bay, the center fielder, just shading ever so slightly third base side of the second base bag.
Albert Pujols on deck, so you know Williams wants to get Grudzielanek here. A ball and a strike. Mark is hitting .250 on the season. We'll take a look at the signals being put down by David Ross.
Curveball.
Out in front a bit, just taps it foul. In the hole now, ball and 2 strikes. As a pitcher, you know who's looming on deck. Mr. Pujols.
Cardinal lineup is so difficult. As a pitcher, you survey those lineup. You say, okay, if I get in a jam, here's my out. Here's my out. And the Cardinals, you go, there's more trouble. Here's more trouble.
Exactly. Oh, Ross thought they had a called third strike, didn't get it. 2-2. Rudzalanek is the 7th man to come to the plate for the Cardinals here in the 2nd inning. Awfully close. Randy Marsh, the crew chief, is our home plate umpire. The 2-2 pitch from this lefty is coming to Mark Rudzalanek with runners at 1st and 3rd. That one got him. That was an identical pitch, and he got him that time. Well, the inning started with Jim Edmonds, a home run to center field. The Cardinals play 2 and lead it. Illini fans and alumni, it's time for the annual Illini Day at Busch Stadium. Illini Day 2005 is coming up Saturday, May 7th. The Cards and the Padres will play. Fellow alums will be there, fans for a pregame picnic. Bruce Weber and Ron Zook will throw out the first pitches. And on the first pitch, this is driven into left field. Sanders is back and he'll make the play. If you'd like more details about Illini Day, log on to stlouisillini.org. And we know a lot of Illini fans made their way to St. Louis for the Busch bragging rights game between Illinois and Mizzou. And of course, they were there for the Final Four. What a showing the Illini had.
They did. Orange was all over the city.
I know you had your folks at the Ballpark Saloon having some fun over there.
Yeah, but you know, I think the city of St. Louis represented itself very, very well. And Doug Elgin,
the CVC, Missouri Valley Conference, did a wonderful job.
It's Rosie Slay, Molly.
Mrs. Slay.
Anyway, she and the staff, and I mean, everybody did a great job in securing the Final Four. And
Missy Slay.
Missy. That's
Yeah, they did a wonderful job. St. Louis University also chipped in. It's always good to see good things happen to great people, and that's Bruce Weber. As that one was just foul off the bat of Darrell Ward, not by much.
Jim Wolf, third base umpire, was right there. I mean, he just turned and just put his eyes right down on the ball, so nobody had a better look than the third base umpire.
Woof. Boy, it's a game of inches. And Jim Wolf was right on that call. Ward, weak ground ball back to Mulder. Fires over to Pujols. And it's a good start here for Mark Mulder. 5 up and 5 down.
I think this is we're going to see the Mark Mulder we were expecting to see. Didn't see the first 2 starts. Even start 1. I mean, he didn't have anything, but you could see the competitor he was. Didn't have all the plays made behind him, but he battled through 6 innings. Last start was just unusual.
And now, like you said, the bottom line in watching Mulder, if he's on, is the amount of ground balls that he can get. And out of the 5 batters he's seen, 3 have been groundouts. There's another one. Scott Rowland, nifty backhanded play on the short out. Fires over to Pujols. 6 up and 6 down. Pujols, Rowland, Edmonds coming up, the big boys for St. Louis.
Welcome back to PNC Park. Scott Rowland fields that last ground ball, a little short arc, but look at right here. Now watch Taguchi. Now he's going to be racing, not to the dugout, but he's backing up this play. Just one of the little fundamental things that we always talk about with Taguchi. In case there was an errant throw, he would have been there to keep him on first base.
Albert out in front and pops it into left center field. And Albert Pujols is over 2 with a pair of flyouts. They always say, Al, ball hit and play, there's always somewhere for every position to run to.
Absolutely. Should never be standing around, and you know, you can just common sense. You just kind of look for different places and see where, and anticipate an overthrow.
But I mean, that guy is so fundamentally sound and takes it to another level because he actually goes through with everything. You know, some of these players pay lip service to that. They don't actually follow through with running to a spot and getting to where they need to be with the ball in play. But So Taguchi does it every single time. It's one of the reasons he got the Game 1 start in the World Series at Fenway Park. Good curveball there to Scott Rowland, just because Taguchi is so fundamentally sound. They felt that he could handle and negotiate the Green Monster well and left.
Now, you go out there pregame, it's important to have balls thrown up against it, see how they carry them, in what direction. You can be a nightmare, or you can be a very gifted player playing those caroms out there.
Count of 2 balls, 2 strikes on Scott Rowland. Checked his swing, full count with Edmonds on deck.
And Scott turned on a lot of pitches and hit it down in the left field corner. Easy home run out there, and you're playing so far off the left field line.
Here's a 3-2 down the left field line, pulled foul. We talk about not much foul territory in new ballparks, and this is a perfect example of that down the left field and right field lines here at PNC. You've got about 2 steps and you hit a wall. Right on the pitch, fouled it straight back.
Scott talking about the last couple days, you know, of keeping that head still, but making, you know, good swings with authority.
At bats like these, fighting off pitches.
That's part of it. You know, you head still, so even if a pitcher makes a good pitch, you get a little piece of it. That head's flying, it's hard to make contact.
Another 3-2 pitch from Dave Williams, a lefty with Hal McRae, the Cardinal batting coach, looking on. As you've told us, Hal and Scott Rowland were working together their time in Philadelphia, now here in St. Louis. Rowland takes a call, 3rd strike on the outside corner. That looked to be a little wide, but Rowland takes it for a call, 3rd strike, and the 3rd strikeout for this left-hander, Dave Williams.
Set up out there, and for Scott Rowland, it appeared to went around the plate, but see, it's high enough. Just a question, was it outside?
Edmonds homer to center his first time up. Pops it up left side, out of play. I think another reason that Rowland had a beef with that, you might remember in the at-bat, about 4 or 5 pitches prior to the called 3rd strike, a similar pitch was called for a ball. That I thought was a little better than that one. All for naught for Rowland as he strikes out, and he is 0 for 2.
And remember the Grizzolanica bat, where
Same
ultimately, and you know, sometimes an umpire said, okay, that one's borderline. If you can repeat it, I'll give it to you.
In that situation, though, and I understand what you're saying. Are you asking, though, from both ends, just a little consistency? Well, if it's a ball once, it should be ball again.
Yeah, and that's the problem where you get a hitter going, wait a minute, you called it a ball, so you've established that's a ball out there. I'm sure in Randy Marsh's eyes, it was just a little bit better.
Edmonds ahead in the count here. Chance to go hacking with 3 balls and 1 strike, 2 outs, nobody on in the top of the 3rd. The Cardinals' first visit to PNC Park here in 05. Edmonds takes ball 4. First walk handed out by Dave Williams. Let's go back to the strikeout of Scott Rowland, and you can see what we're talking about. This is the earlier pitch I was mentioning. When he laid off that pitch, it was called a ball. Williams thought he had a strike, and then this one coming in, this is the called 3rd strike.
Well, that one was, the called 3rd strike was better than the first one, but I'm sure Scott will tell you they were both the same. They were both balls.
Sanders a bloop hit to right, and came around to score on the triple by So Taguchi last inning. Reggie off to a good start as far as the power numbers are concerned. 4 homers and 8 RBIs.
Off to a good start last April.
Let's see. Sanders has been with Pittsburgh, Cincinnati, Arizona, St. Louis. What else am I missing? San Francisco, San Diego.
He's also, last season, became the first player in Major League history to collect 20 or more home runs with 7 different teams.
If you're struggling, he advocates having an emergency appendectomy. He had one, and he came back and started hitting the cover off the ball. Gets that one out of play. That happened on March 17th. And there were question marks as to whether or not he'd be available for opening day. Well, not only was he available for opening day, he was back within a week in spring training.
All right, did you say Atlanta?
Did not say Atlanta. That's another one.
Cincinnati, San Diego, Atlanta, Arizona, San Francisco, Pittsburgh, and St. Louis.
So we only missed Atlanta. That's not too bad.
Tell you one thing, most of those teams, when he was with them, were in the playoffs.
No doubt about it. Something to be said with teams that have guys that have been there before, and now the Cardinals are one of those teams that have had players that have been there time and again. Rowland, Edmonds, Sanders, Larry Walker now. Did it with Colorado in the mid-90s, and now has done it with St. Louis. David Eckstein has won a world championship while with the Angels.
David Ross with a nice stab right there. Talked to his pitcher. David Ross acquired from Los Angeles $75,000. They sold him. It's like the bat boy money.
Everybody's making money in baseball. Even the bat boy. He's getting $75,000. I want to be working for you if I become a bat boy.
Santiago is the #1 catcher here, but he's been down for a solid week with the flu.
Sanders rips it down the left field line and foul. That thing was smoked. Two and two the count.
6 years with 6 different clubs for Reggie, and you would have thought he was a bad guy. There's nothing but that's the furthest thing from the truth. He's one of the greatest guys you'll ever meet. Good teammate, good solid player.
And he strikes out. Strikeout number 4 for Williams. Cardinals strand a man. They've left 4 in this game. Lead it 2-0. Third member of our broadcast crew is with us as the Cardinals lead it 2-0. Let's check in with Joel Goldberg. Joel.
Yeah, and Dan, everybody's always talking about the Pirates being young and their low salary, their low budget. Well, back in 2003, there were a few Cardinals on that team. Abraham Nunez, Reggie Sanders, and Jeff Suppan, as we have the ground out to second base there. Nice play by Mark Mulder. But you go back to that year, and that team was actually loaded along with Sanders and those players. Suppan, Aramis Ramirez was on that team. Jason Kendall was on that team. Kenny Lofton, Brian Giles, but many of them got traded away. None of them are left now except for Jack Wilson and Craig Wilson are a couple of the guys that are left. But Jeff Suppan said of his short stint here, he loved it here. He loved this ballpark. Beautiful skyline. They just can't keep the talent, guys.
A beautiful ballpark. There's no doubt about it. Thank you, Joel. He's down that left field line. No problem with security over there for good old Joel. Not many fans down there, but you think about 2003 and what took place at the end of the season. Remember, Kenny Lofton, Ramirez, and Randall Simon all went to the Chicago Cubs. And a lot of people were upset that, including the Cardinals, that the Pirates were trading within the division and going to the Chicago Cubs. And those 3 players played big-time roles in helping them get to postseason play.
And it just didn't seem like the Pirates got fair value in return.
At all. And if you're looking to build a nucleus of players and cornerstone franchise-type players, Aramis Ramirez is a guy I don't think, Al, you part with. I mean, he's a pretty talented guy here, hitting a lot of home runs for Chicago. They just wrapped him up long term. They feel he's the third baseman of the future.
Well, you might say this, that Ramirez never became the player that he is today until he got with the better ball club, the Cubs. And maybe it was easy for him to have the style points here. We got over there with more of a winning team and some more team leadership, older veteran guys. They kind of took him on the wing and said, hey, we don't do things like that. You got to play a little harder. You got to play more aggressive. You got to get in better shape.
How much of a factor, too, for a young player? And you talked about it, a young team like the Pirates playing in front of crowds. And there's a ground ball to Grudzelanic, another ground ball here from Mark Mulder, and he has set up 8 down and to start this game. But playing in front of these sparse crowds, then you go to Wrigley Field in the middle of a pennant race. Place is packed. It's Chicago. It's a different atmosphere. It maybe jumpstarts your career.
Well, and you know, a great example of that was a young Joe Morgan playing with the Colt 45s. Was, you know, a decent player, but when he went to the Big Red Machine, he became a Hall of Famer.
Here's Williams, and he takes a ball just below the knees. Big Cardinal fan Scott Weber is here in Pittsburgh, rooting on the Cardinals. Conducting business, wanted to stop by and say hello. So Scott Weber saying hi to family and friends. 1 ball, 1 strike on Dave Williams. Has an RBI this young season. Out of the 8 batters that Mulder has seen, 6 have hit ground balls.
Williams has a home run to his credit a couple years back.
Off of Jason Barea of Chicago. Good pitch by Mulder, doesn't get the call, and it's 2-2.
That's a good curve ball, and
knee buckling there.
Yeah. Watch the knees. Pitcher. No, it's a pitcher. He still almost sat down.
We have fooled the umpire with that one.
It happens.
2-2. Cardinals leading 2-0. They picked up their 2 runs on a solo home run by Edmonds back in the 2nd. And an RBI triple by Taguchi. Williams stays alive as he spins in the box. But as a pitcher, make your counterpart work.
You kind of watch the way he swings. You almost don't want to throw anything inside. Keep it away from him because he falls off.
First strikeout of the night for Mulder. 9 up, 9 down to start this game. So Taguchi will lead things off when we come back. 2-0 St. Louis. Our trivia question for Pittsburgh is brought to you by Aflac. Who was the last Cardinal to hit 20 triples in a single season? Our Aflac trivia question. Top of the 4th, Sho Taguchi, Yadier Molina, and Mark Mulder for St. Louis. Congratulations to Jason Marquis. Heck of an outing yesterday against the Milwaukee Brewers. He set down the last 18 that he faced, and he is a slow starter, it seems to be, in games, but finishes strong and got some help from Scott Rowland at the end of that game to get the win. Taguchi, ground ball, Wigington, backhanded play, long throw, and makes it. And the first man is retired. But the Cardinals, if they can add a solid start here for Mark Mulder, it's starting to come together as far as the starting 5, and you got Matt Morris going tomorrow.
Well, you just, so many people just are so concerned about Mulder. I'm sure they'll have those concerns about Matt until he goes out and shows them he's healthy.
Molina slices that one foul. There's Jason Marquis on the left, Matt Morris on the right.
You know, Matt's chomping at the bit to get out there, and I think he experienced a little bit of a slowdown towards the end of spring training, maybe breaking loose some adhesions.
As Molina drills this one into deep right field, it is back, and it is caught by Matt Lawton. Races it down on the track, and the struggles continue for Molina. He can't buy a break.
Hit that ball extremely well, so that's the only consolation. But instead of an extra base hit, it's just a long fly ball out. But you got to sit there and know if you start hitting balls like that, they're going to start falling in.
And it brings in Mark Mulder. First 2 have been retired. Nice play out there by Matt Lawton. And Mulder looks at a strike. Molina 0 for 2. And 1 for 31 this season. Mulder struck out back in the 2nd. Ball's behind 0-2. We're at PNC Park in Pittsburgh. Brief 2-game set. That'll be taken by Darrell Ward. The Cardinals go 1-2 midway through the 4th, and St. Louis behind a home run from Edmonds and an RBI triple from Sotoguchi, lead it 2-0. Top of the order coming up for the Pirates. This portion of Cardinal baseball on FSN Midwest is brought to you by Advance Auto Parts. We're ready in advance. By Aflac, ask about it at work. And by Rico, how well do you print, copy, scan, or fax? How well do you share? 9 up, 9 down for Mark Mulder to start this game. Top of the order, here's Matt Lawton. First pitch is pulled foul. Out of the 9 that he saw, 6 ground ball outs. Fly out to center, fly out to left, and a strikeout of the pitcher Dave Williams. Very good start thus far for Mark Mulder.
They've hit some balls hard off of him, but that's part of pitching, is having your defense take care of those pitches.
Fastball outside, 1 ball, 1 strike.
And very economical, just going right after things, and he looks like Mr. Cool.
The 1-1 pitch to Matt Lawton. Go ahead and explain that story for people that maybe didn't see it during the pregame show with Joel Goldberg, but you talked to Jason Isringhausen about his teammate Mark Mulder.
Yeah, because you know, you see Mulder's not real aggressive. He just kind of goes through, you know, not through the motions, but not knowing him that well or his personality, I asked Jason.
A little weak ground ball that'll be taken by Pujols. And Matt Lawton is 0 for 2. Mark Mulder has been effective here tonight with the ground ball outs.
Well, here you see he gets 2 in the first frame. Then he gets 2 more in the second frame, 2 more in the third, and already he's got 1 more in the 4th frame. So he's getting what his job description is, ground balls. But I asked Jason, I said, is he aggressive on the mound or what? He goes, oh, no, he's Mr. Cool. He just, you know, he just goes through the motions, you know, doesn't get too excited. But this is where you normally see him. Not too excited, but in complete control.
1 ball, 1 strike on Jack Wilson. He's off to a sluggish start, under 200. Came the opening day starter at shortstop for the Pirates back in 2001. Replaced Pat Mears. Signed a 2-year contract in the offseason after a monster year last year for the Pirates. 2-1 the count. 2-2 is before last season. He went back and looked at some home video that his wife had shot of him playing ball single A with the Cardinals, and his stance was more crouched, his hands were higher, and he switched his stance. He said that made all the difference in the world, going back to some old mechanics at the plate.
A series of adjustments. Earlier on Saturday he snapped an 0 for 14 streak. He's had 3 hits in his last 8 at-bats since that streak.
And the 3-2 pitch, tapped foul and out of play.
Talked about Mulder trying to pitch more inside, but not down and in, get up around the hands. A lot of times when you have a batter that holds their hands high like Wilson does, you can pitch him up and in and jam it.
3-2 is hit to Scott Rowland. He makes it look so easy over there at third base. That is not an easy play, and that's the second time we have seen him backhand that ball on a short hop and not play it in front.
Well, you see he's going to play much more off the line than he did the years before. But as you said, that little backhand there kind of catches in between stops, but he will use that backhand a lot more this year as he's playing further off the line than he has in the past.
And the reason for that, the lack of range of David Eckstein as opposed to Edgar Renteria. And Eckstein more towards second base. This particular situation, though, point deep in the hole and Rowland guarding the line almost with the hitter Jason Bay. Had a .559 slugging percentage a season ago. That's the all-time record for the Pirates as far as rookies are concerned. Missed a couple of weeks this spring. He was hit on the hand by a wild pitch.
Remember, he missed all of April last year with shoulder surgery.
2-2.
So you just wonder, with an extra month, would he have been the National League Rookie of the Year? He was one of the leading contenders.
Sporting News gave him that award. And the 2-2 pitch inside. Bay is 7 for 14 against left-handed pitching so far this year. Grounded to short his first time up.
See if Mark can stay perfect.
Didn't get the call. First base runner of the night for the Pirates, and it brings in Craig Wilson. A little different look for Craig Wilson this season.
The locks are gone.
Locks are gone. Thanks to Mike Gonzalez, left-hander in the Pirates bullpen. He said enough is enough, and he shaved them all off. Boyd McClendon has always talked about trying to find consistency out of Craig Wilson, who was a top pinch hitter a few years ago with power. Broken bat. That'll be handled by Grudzielanek. And the Pirates strand a man after the 2-out walk by Mark Mulder. The Cardinals have the top of the order coming up in the 5th. That means Eckstein, Grudzielanek, and Pujols for St. Louis. Sunday, April 23rd. All fans 15 and under with a paid admission receive a specially designed Cardinals t-shirts, compliments of Coca-Cola. Give the Cardinals a call or check it out online at stlcardinals.com for more ticket information. As David Eckstein will lead things off here in the 5th. Cardinals leading by a pair. It's 2-0. I guess the Yankees got the message.
Yeah, George Steinbrenner not very happy with his team's play.
What a shock.
So they went out in the bottom of the 2nd today at home against Tampa Bay and scored 13 runs, sent 17 players to the plate in the bottom of the 2nd inning, capped off by a grand slam by Tino Martinez.
I never thought, my wildest imagination, that George Steinbrenner would be upset and then make his comments known to everybody else about how upset he was. Made him public.
This guy got his cup of coffee or something.
You know, he's usually so mild-mannered. Patience with his clubs. So they lead at 13-1. Boston has won their ball game this afternoon, 12-7. As Eckstein spins away from another high delivery. He was already hit by a pitch earlier in this game, and he lined out. So that's the 2nd time he's been aboard this evening.
David hitless in only one official plate appearance, but a hit by pitch, and now he reaches again here this evening via the walk.
It's going to be fun for us. Interleague play with the Yankees and Red Sox coming to St. Louis. We'll go to Tampa Bay and Toronto. Much improved Blue Jays team. They feel they can compete in the American League East, along with Baltimore, who's off to a very good start at 8-4 after sweeping the Yankees over the weekend. Here's Grudzielanek. Last time up, he didn't like a couple of the calls that went against him, and he struck out after doubling in the 1st inning. A walk to Eckstein. The 2nd walk handed out by Dave Williams.
Interesting. Now they've got the shift back on in the outfield, playing him out to right and right center. We've got the first baseman holding on, so there's a big gap that way. And the base runner on. You can see possibility of starting a running game here. Get Grudzielanek very good at shooting the ball to the opposite field.
Very much a line drive hitter, gap type hitter. Hits this one deep into center field. Going back is Bay, and he makes the play on the track and bounces into the wall. Nicely done out there by Bay for the 1st out here in the top of the 5th.
398 feet. The problem is the wall is 399.
That was hit hard off the bat of Grudzielanek, and it brings in Albert Pujols. Albert is over 2. He's fly to right, fly to center.
Let's see. Albert, who normally hits extremely well in this ballpark, just a little underneath a couple balls.
Pujols takes a ball outside low. Scott Rowland on deck.
We bunch Albert in the outfield.
And they are deep. All fields.
Surprising the way they bunch him.
Yeah. Check on Eckstein at first base with 1 out.
Talk about bunching in the outfield. Right and left fielders well off the lines, playing a little bit more towards the gaps. A lot of room down in the corners.
1-0 pitch. Albert pops it up. Shallow right field. Long way to go for Lawton. Now the second baseman in fair territory makes the play. That's Freddie Sanchez. Albert is 0 for 3. And it brings in the cleanup man, Scott Rowland.
Another indication there, if infielders, those pop-ups, go out there and go after them unless you get called off by an outfielder. Because the way the left and right fielders were going to play, it's going to take a second baseman, a shortstop, third baseman to make those plays down the line.
We saw that a couple of times over the weekend with Pujols, and then twice here tonight where he's just popped it up a mile high. I mean, a couple of major league pop-ups. Scott Rowland looks at a ball outside. He is flied to left and struck out in the third. 0 for 2. Runner at first is David Eckstein with Edmonds on deck. Room into left center field for Rowland as they shade him a little bit to the opposite field.
Eckstein was kind of leaning towards second, indicating one to run. Williams stepped off.
1-0 pitch to Rowland. Hit into right. Lawton over to get it. And the Cardinals waste the leadoff walk by Eckstein midway through the 5th. The Redbirds lead it 2-0. Bottom of the 5th, Mark Mulder back to work, and the Cardinals lead it 2-0. And here is Darrell Ward, a check swing. He held up. Ward off to a slow start at 172. It's a slim down. Darrell Ward. Weight has been an issue in his career. The Astros loved his bat, but they couldn't keep him in the everyday lineup. Defense was a problem. He was a liability out there. You just get the feeling when you watch him, you're watching a DH. Maybe better suited for the American League, playing first base for the Pirates.
Well, you think that, and some people are concerned around here because several of these Pirates really slumped the last 4 months. Darrell Ward, terrible slump. You know, not off to a good start now. He only batted .208 the last 4 months of the season. Kukoviak only .202. Greg Wilson .220.
And it's a leadoff walk to Darrell Ward. Let's check in with Joel Goldberg. He's got a special guest. Joel?
Thank you, guys. Joined right now by former Pirate manager and Cardinals scout, now Jim Leyland. You get a chance living here in Pittsburgh to scout the Pirates all the time. What can you tell us about the Pirates? Obviously a young team.
Well, they are. They're a very young team, and a little bit like the Cardinals in the sense that they've gotten off to a slow start offensively. Hopefully that stays the same way for another couple of days. But, you know, they're a better ball club than they've played up to this point. But, you know, it's real early, and they're young, and, you know, they're experimenting a little bit with some different lineups to try to get things going. And like I say, hopefully they won't get it going for another couple of days.
You had such a great managing career. Tell me about being a scout now. We saw you down in Jupiter having a great time with the Cardinals. How much do you enjoy your job and being able to spend time with your family here in Pittsburgh?
Well, it's a nice combination. Anytime you can live in a place, come out to a ballpark like this and watch the entire National League, it's not just the Pirates. So, you know, to stay in a little bit with the guys and be around the guys a little bit in spring training and then come back here and come out to a beautiful place like this, it doesn't get much better than that, really.
Thanks for the visit.
Okay.
All right, that is Jim Leyland, a guy that Tony La Russa absolutely loves to talk to and pick his brain. Guys, back to you.
All right, Joel, thank you. Jim Leyland, the former manager with the Pirates. And he was on the staff with Tony La Russa well before his time in Pittsburgh. After Pittsburgh won a World's Championship with the Florida Marlins, they dismantled that team, and it was off to Colorado as that one slid under the glove of Scott Rowland on a hard hit ball by Freddie Sanchez, and the first two have reached, and that's the first hit for the Buccos tonight.
Game of inches. Scott Rowland can glove that ball, and it stayed right underneath his glove with a little bit of a dive. It's a sure double play ball the way it's hit, but it goes for the first base hit for the Pirates. They have something going right now. 2 men on, nobody out. And now we'll see if Mulder can kind of bow his neck and get one of those, another one of those ground balls. You know, he was phenomenal in that department last year. Had 37 double plays, the most in the majors. He had opponents ground into.
And a swing and a miss by Ty Wigginton.
Wigginton only batted .220 after the trade from the Mets on July the 30th.
Something that Jim Leland, in talking about double plays, has picked up at this ballpark. He said the grass here at PNC is a lot taller than it has been the last couple of seasons. They let it grow a little bit longer, and slow rollers have been a problem on both sides for teams that have come in this year. Rowland for one. Grudzielanek, high throw, and they can't turn the double play, and Pujols is limping as he was tied up with the runner Wigginton. And that high throw on the turn by Grudzielanek, first and third, one out. And Wigginton hit the deck, and Pujols was limping. We'll get a good look at it here.
He jumped up like that. It looked like, yes, you're right. He kind of clipped him as he ran by. Didn't knock him down, but kind of takes the brunt on that.
And now it's the catcher, David Ross, with runners at first and third, and an opportunity for the Pirates to get on the board.
And also a perfect time to get a catcher running, get another ground ball, try and get out of the inning with a double play ball.
Jim Leland, of course, was up for the Phillies managerial position.
Yeah, that's interesting to me, because he said that he was not, he lost his desire to manage, and yet he sought after that Phillies job.
He wanted a spot where he could be close to home. And this one is hit into left field. Sanders will come on, makes the play, and the throw is coming into the plate. It is there. Molina drops it, and the run scores. That throw was perfect from Reggie Sanders.
And Molina just, I'm sure he feels terrible about it. He showed how tough he was last year several times, taking the brunt of collisions. Reach in there with two hands. He does so, but he can't hold on.
He's got to hold on. That throw is perfect.
Well, and it really wasn't even that hard of a slide. It maybe got him up around the face, but can I put that tag in there and get out of the way, spin out of there? But there's no excuse for not holding on. He had plenty of time to set himself, bury that hand in there, put the ball in your bare hand. That's what you got to do, is put it in your bare hand. Usually it doesn't fly out of there. If you got it in the glove, it can be knocked out of the glove.
And now it's Williams. Molina would be the first to tell you that should be out number 3, and Cardinals out of the inning. Instead, it extends it, and the Pirates on the board. It's 2-1.
To give an error on that play, and would have to be on Molina. Throw was perfect, as you said.
Right on the money from Reggie.
And Reggie's already seen 2 of those sinking line drives go off his glove. This time he holds on to it, makes a strong throw to the plate, and as you said, nobody feels worse than Molina. A bang-bang play, but he did have 2 steps to put the ball in the glove, hold on to the ball, protect it with the glove, spin away from the contact.
Count of 1 ball, 1 strike on Williams. It's it back to Mulder. Pirates get on the board as he flips it over to Pujols. Yadier Molina with the air. Pirates on the board, 2-1.
First.
Frustrating start to the season for Yadier Molina. His frustration right there is he could not hold on to the throw from Reggie Sanders. That was perfect. I mean, perfect.
Well, that tells you all you need to know, and that's accepting responsibility and not trying to say, oh no, it took a bad bounce or anything like that. He knows he should have held on to it. No one feels worse.
So it'll be Edmonds here in the top of the 6th, followed by Reggie Sanders and so Taguchi against the lefty Dave Williams. After a rough start in the first couple of innings for Williams, he settled in here. Edmonds has been aboard twice with a solo home run, got the scoring started for the Cardinals back in the 2nd. And then an RBI triple by So Taguchi made it 2-0, and the Pirates have just tied it up. Just 4 hits allowed by Williams, 1 hit from Mulder.
He's walked 2 batters, he's hit a batter, go along with those 4 hits, but 1-run ball game.
And it brings in Jimmy. We're at PNC Park, just a gorgeous night for baseball. As Edmonds swings and misses. Couldn't draw it up any better.
We've never been here this early or any point in the season without rain, have we?
Doesn't seem like it. That's when I walked to the ballpark. I asked the guy right when I walked in. I said, so what time is it supposed to rain? He said, don't worry, we're going to get it. It'll rain. 1 ball, 1 strike on Edmonds. Unseasonably warm temperatures this afternoon and really even into the evening. Usually it's a little bit cool at this time of year here in Pittsburgh.
Gorgeous weather over the weekend in St. Louis. Wonder if we're going to pay for it in July.
Outside to Edmonds, 2-2. We're expecting rain, we understand, with the Cubs coming to town on Wednesday night for the first of 2. As we look ahead, and it's an early start, by the way, on Wednesday. It'll be a 6:05 first pitch. Of course, we've got afternoon baseball on Thursday. Our first look at the Chicago Cubs. They're in the 5th in their ball game at Cincinnati and lead the Reds 5-2. Full count on Edmonds. The foul tip, and Ross holds on, and Edmonds strikes out. I don't know about you, it's going to seem like a little different series without Sammy Sosa and Moises Alou wearing that Cubs uniform.
Big breaking ball. Jim fouled it into the glove of Ross. Yes, it's going to be a little different.
And you wonder how the Cubs are going to try to replace some of the offense that's missing from that lineup. They still have the very good pitching when healthy. Pryor, Sobrano, Wood, Maddox.
Garcia Parra has gotten off to a slow start after a torrid spring.
First pitch is strike to Sanders. Make it 0-2. Reggie Sanders singled and scored in the 2nd and struck out swinging in the 3rd. 5 strikeouts on the night for Dave Williams. Upstairs to Reggie. All the starters with baseballs in their hands, working on different grips. Is that something that you always did in the bullpen? Hold a baseball?
Always had a ball in my hand. I remember going to bed with a ball, spinning it, tossing it up and down, just getting the feel for it, changing grips without imagine like you're spreading your hand to give away that pitch. That's your best friend, that baseball. You better know every seam.
Most guys do that. Have a baseball out in the bullpen, always just maybe flipping it, getting a feel for it throughout the game.
I used to always experiment a little bit with a fork ball or the hungo pitch, and so Diego Segui used to bring a softball.
Widen the fingers a little bit.
To spread your fingers out. You bring a softball down there and stretch his fingers out with that.
2-2 on Reggie Sanders. As we play here in the top of the 6th on FSN Midwest. Al Raboski, Dan McLaughlin, Joe Goldberg with you. Tom Mee, our producer, Mike Helling, our director, Doug Stanton on graphics. Lindsey Polite, our pregame show producer. Brian McCann with us as well. That one is tap foul.
Just changing speed. A lot of guys out on their front foot. He's got a ball. See how he spin it like that?
It's Randy Flores out there. Ray King to his left.
Tony would love to get a lot more runs and have Mulder pitch about 7 efficient innings and then get an inning apiece for Jornell.
Cardinals will have a decision to make after the game. They'll activate Matt Morris for the start tomorrow. And then have to make a decision on what they want to do with that roster spot.
And a lot of times you just never make that decision, or you know the decision, but you never make that move until right before game time, because
you never know.
You never know. Guys have fallen off of curbs, sprained their ankles.
Reggie unloads into deep left field. Wilson back at the wall, and he's got it. Hung up there just a little too much, and Wilson right at the wall put it away. Boy, he tattooed that pitch. And Sanders is 1 for 3.
And the pitcher, he thinks he's giving up another one.
Reggie had a little hop to it too. He thought he may have gotten it.
And the pitcher's going, come on, come on. Craig Wilson kind of, oh, that's just routine out.
He played it kind of routine out there, didn't he?
Well, you don't want to give away that you really thought it was a bad pitch.
Here's so Taguchi showing bunt, looks at a strike with 2 outs, nobody on. Last base runner for St. Louis. Last inning, a walk. The last hit for the Cardinals came in the second.
It's Taguchi's.
It was his triple to bring in Reggie Sanders back in the second inning. Cardinals with a lead of 2-1.
It's a difference in the game right now, that RBI triple.
Another difference in this game, and you hope it doesn't come back to haunt the Cardinals, the fact they had Taguchi at third base with nobody out. Couldn't bring him in. So drills it down the left field line and pulls it foul. See, when I would come to games, that would be my spot right out there, because I figure, you know what, if there's a foul ball, I'm going to get it. There's only 2 guys, 3 guys now wrestling for that ball in those seats. You have to be innovative in your thinking, Al. You've got to want it. Taguchi beat it out.
Dave Williams threw a changeup to Darrell
Sure
Ward.
did.
He might have had him, but he would have had to rush his throw, but he was so close to the first baseman, he deked him with a changeup. He deflects it, he scrambles after it, and then now he gooses it over there, and that allowed Taguchi to speed on through the bag and get an infield single.
Molina's fly to deep right field and popped out to second. I thought they may squeeze with Molina back in the second inning. With his struggles, Taguchi at third base. I know it's early, but
well, there's nobody out.
Right.
So, I mean, maybe with 1 out, we've done that, but
figuring with his struggles, trying to get that first RBI. As Molina's out in front, hits it into left. Wilson coming on, and it drops for a hit. Taguchi on his way to third base. So Molina reaches, and it brings up Mark Mulder.
Yeah, a lot of times you got to play a psychological game with some of the young guys, and I'll tell you after this. Here you see Wilson coming in there, definitely short hops the ball, does a nice job to keep it in his glove, not allow it to get by him and go to the wall. But you have runners corners. Molina is going to be your everyday catcher, and I think that, you know, even though you're trying to do something to help him get an RBI, you know, you'd rather have him show the confidence that we think you can do it by swinging the bat without having to give yourself in and out doing the squeeze play.
This day in baseball history brought to you by Schnucks at Three Rivers Stadium. Mike Schmidt becomes the 14th player in Major League history to hit 500 home runs. Mulder hits it foul. Harry Callis, of course, at the famous call of number 500 off the bat of Michael Jack Schmidt. Runners at the corners for St. Louis. And Mulder pulls it foul. And it's a count of 0-2. Mark tonight is struck out back in the second. Grounded out to first. 0 for 2. David Eckstein on deck if Mulder can reach. 1-2 the count. Rick White is throwing in the bullpen for the Pittsburgh Pirates, the former Cardinal. He, along with Benito Santiago, called a team-only meeting, a players-only meeting. After about 5 games into the season, they didn't like what they saw, those 2 veterans. As Mulder swings and misses. Strikeout number 6 for Dave Williams. Top of the order, Matt Lawton coming up. Cardinals leading by a run. This portion of Cardinal Baseball on FSN Midwest is brought to you by Advance Auto Parts. We're ready in advance. By Aflac, ask about it at work. And by Rico, how well do you print, copy, scan, fax? How well do you share? Matt Lawton is 0 for 2. He'll lead it off for the Pirates. Not much offense in this game on either side. The Cardinals with 6 hits. The Pirates with just 1. That one scooted under the glove of Scott Rowland. Off the bat of Freddie Sanchez back in the 5th. And it's 2-0. Lawton has started each of the first 13 games in right field. And has batted the leadoff in every game for the Pirates. Mostly in his career, he's been a hitter that's been in the 3 spot of most lineups. That one missed outside. Mulder didn't like the call. 3-0. He's got good power. Just 1 home run, though, so far this season. And a leadoff walk.
Third walk from Mulder.
It was a leadoff walk in the 5th that came back to haunt the Cardinals and Mark Mulder. That was Darrell Ward as he scored. Now leadoff walk to Matt Lawton. Jack Wilson was one of the top sacrifice men in baseball 2 seasons ago. Rowland knows that. He's playing in at third.
Remember they had Jay Bell first year or so, for just like Jack Wilson. Jay Bell was the designated sacrifice man. Now he's more responsibilities instead of sacrifice. Usually do more hit and runs with him, but move along runners.
Very good at shooting that ball towards the right side. Mulder, another toss over to first.
Mulder was second in the American League, American League last year with 9 pickoffs. So this combination of Mulder keeping a runner very close and Molina with a shotgun arm, you're not necessarily afraid if they have put on the steal.
Outside to Wilson. That's 5 straight balls to start the inning, thrown by Mark Mulder.
And Mulder there was paying so much attention to Lawton, the runner at first, kind of affected his mechanics going to the plate. But Molina, little reminder, hey, you work on coming to the plate, your defense behind you and myself in front of you, we'll take care of those runners.
Wilson with just 2 RBIs. Coming into this game, he was a 3 for 21 skid. Make it 6 straight balls thrown by the Cardinals lefty. And here comes Dave Duncan. Let's see if we get a little activity. At least guys starting to stretch out there in the Cardinal bullpen.
Yeah, get somebody up because it's elevating his pitches.
If you'd like to win Cardinals tickets and participate in the Southwest Airlines Family of the Game promotion during a Cardinals home game, here's a chance. Send your name, address, phone number to Southwest Airlines Family of the Game, P.O. Box 771192, St. Louis, Missouri 63177. Good luck from Southwest Airlines. Well, that's 6 straight balls thrown by Mark Mulder. And it's 2-0 on Wilson. Bay on deck. Jack Wilson, a career .265 hitter after his best season as a major leaguer a year ago. 2-1 now the count.
Contact hitter here. Speed on at first base. ground ball pitcher. Make something happen.
And he hits it in the air to left center field. On the move, Edmonds. He'll get there. And he makes the play. And back to first goes Matt Lawton. Not what you want out of your number 2 man in that spot. After Mulder is struggling with control. I mean, in that spot, you might have to look at sacrificing, trying to get at Mark Mulder, having allowed just 1 hit.
I mean, sometimes you can help your offensive players out, trying to get them to do certain things as a manager. Incorporate the running game, hit and run.
Bay has walked and grounded out to short. He was the first base runner of the night for the Pirates back in the 4th. And he looks at a fastball and a strike. Outfield is straight away. Fairly deep for Bay.
Splitter grip. Most extreme grip, so he puts that one in his hand and then he can adjust to any others. You know, you wouldn't put a fastball grip, because then when you got to your ready and you had to change into a splitter, you probably would, you know, showcase it by widening your glove, so you go to your extreme grip.
Good pitch. 0-2.
Hold the string.
That's perfect. Mark Mulder, still very much a young man at the age of 27. Signed through this year and next. Hot shot. That's one. Eckstein will just put it in his back pocket for the second out. They've gotten away there on an 0-2 pitch. It was a bullet to the Cardinals shortstop.
Yeah, ball looked like it stayed up and got a little bit too much of the plate, but good things happen right at a fielder.
And it's up to Craig Wilson, the cleanup man in this lineup for Pittsburgh. He was involved in a 10-player deal back in 1996 from Toronto. Mentioned that he was one of the best pinch hitters that the Pirates had back in 2001. He had 7 home runs off the bench, a Pirates record. Wanted to be an everyday player. Lloyd McClendon was looking for consistency out of him. He would go into prolonged slumps, but has corrected that. Now he's playing every day for the 2nd season in a row.
Yeah, the fans and everybody wanted to see an everyday player out of Craig Wilson, but Lloyd McClendon felt, and correctly, that he would just bury himself if he played every day. At that time, he didn't have the experience to handle the slumps. He's one of those guys that you can really pitch to him. If you make your good pitches, you should retire him. You make mistakes, that's where he makes his living.
He's flying to left, popped out to second, and Mark Grudzielanek. Runner at first is Matt Lawton. He had a leadoff walk. Wilson into left field. Sanders on the move, sliding, can't get it. Gets away from him. Lawton being waved home. Rollins relay to the plate. Molina holds on this time, and they got him. The Pirates take a chance, and they get burned. The relay from Sanders to Scott Rowland to Yadier Molina. And it keeps it a 2-1 St. Louis lead. Cardinal Baseball on FSN Midwest is brought to you by Smooth Bush Beer and Easy Drinking Bush Light. By Auto Tire. For straight talk and great service, you ought to go to Auto Tire. By Steak and Shake. Real steak burgers and real milk milkshakes. Served 24 hours a day at Steak and Shake. And by Southwest Airlines. Friendly nonstop service all across the country. Southwest Airlines, a symbol of freedom. PNC Park in Pittsburgh. Dan McLaughlin, Al Raboski. Former Cardinal Rick White is into the ball game. He wears number 88, works in the bullpen for the Pirates. And this is our Hyundai long drive inning. You have a chance to register to win a Hyundai Tucson SUV in the Hyundai long drive inning sweepstakes. Stop by your St. Louis area Hyundai dealers to register and win today. Top of the order for the Cards, David Eckstein, Mark Grudzielanek and Albert Pujols for St. Louis. Cardinals with just 6 hits, but on the flip side, the Pirates only 2 against Mark Mulder.
Rick White failed to retire any of the 2 batters he faced and suffered a loss in Milwaukee last Wednesday afternoon. Opponents were batting .421 off him of the young season, 8 for 19.
Boy, McClendon may be doing the Cardinals a favor by getting Williams out of there. Pitched pretty well against the Cardinals here tonight. 6 strikeouts, a couple of walks, 6 hits, and 2 runs in his 6 innings of work. And now White is ahead in the count 0-2 on David Eckstein. Eckstein has been on base twice tonight with a walk, hit by a pitch, and he lined out to the third baseman to start the game. This one he pops up into shallow right field. Sanchez calling for it, second baseman, and he has it. There's Lloyd McClendon. He's been around for a while now as the manager of the Buccos. A lot of people consider him on the hot seat this year, but this is an organization, Al, that does not go out and spend a lot of money, and it's tough to win.
It's 5th year with the Buccos. Been on the staff for a while, so he's quite familiar with the farm system and big league personnel. Been rumored to try and looking for a big bat, but so far they haven't been able to execute that trade.
Here's Grudzielanek. 1 ball, no strikes. Held up his swing. Takes a strike. Average has dipped to 235. He has doubled tonight. Called out on strikes in the second. Lined out to center. Deep center field last time up. When the Cardinals acquired Rick White a few seasons ago, he was lights out down the stretch. He was terrific. Picked him up from Chicago. He's bounced around since then. Outside, 3-1 with Pujols on deck.
He's a sinker slider type guy. Everything hard.
Chance to go Akin here for Grudzielanek. Room into left center field. Up the middle. Knocked down by White. Stays with it. Makes the play. Takes a hit away from Grudzielanek. Let's take a look at tonight's Southwest Airlines starting lineup for the St. Louis Cardinals and what they have done here tonight. Damage done in the bottom of the order in particular. When you look at So Taguchi, 2 for 3, has an RBI triple, and of course the 1 hit for Edmonds, a big one, a solo home run back in the 2nd inning. Our thanks again to our friends at Southwest Airlines for sponsoring our starting lineups. Here's Albert Pujols, 0 for 3. Takes a strike. 3 flyouts for Pujols, and 2 of the 3 have been major league pop-ups. I mean, he has really popped it up. Lines that one. Ward, what a play. White covers at first, and they take a hit away from Albert Pujols. What a play by Darryl Ward. Time to stretch here at PNC Park. 2-1 Cardinals, bottom of the 7th. Mark Mulder has allowed 2 hits tonight. He's been sharp. He's struck out 1. Has issued 3 walks, and here is Darryl Ward, who just took a hit away from Albert Pujols. Slick fielding play at first base, and Ward lines it into deep right field. Taguchi going back, and he makes the play. Got a good jump on that. 1 pitch and 1 out. That helps out Mark Mulder. Let's check in with Joel Goldberg. Joel.
Yeah, Dan, that fly ball came just a few feet from us out here in right center field. We talked about how great this ballpark is. Maybe the coolest feature is outside of the ballpark, over my right-hand shoulder. It is Roberto Clemente Bridge, just a stone's throw from this stadium. And we take a look back, a flashback at the legendary outfield. Roberto Clemente played here for the Pirates from 1955 to 1972. 3,000 plus hits. Hit 313 times, 4 batting titles, 12 gold gloves. Of course, he died December 31st, 1972 in a tragic plane crash and was inducted into the Hall of Fame the next year in 1973. And Dan and Al, one of the interesting things about it, too, is out here in right center field. Yes, not a whole lot of fans, but we're seeing lots of Roberto Clemente jerseys still out here. And as we said before, great view. As the guy right next to me says, old number 21. And I think I like my view much better than, where are you guys? You guys all the way up there? I think I see you.
We are. Glad you're part of the broadcast with us. Also, another side note to that, as we see Scott Rowland stay down on the ball. Where Joel is standing out there, the wall has a scoreboard out there, but that wall is 21 feet high to honor Roberto Clemente. Of course, number 21 retired. The Clemente Bridge, we walk over to go back to our team hotel, but that is 21 feet high in honor of the great Roberto Clemente, who I know you had a chance to see play quite often.
Well, he never would have got 3,000 hits without my contribution. Got a couple off of me.
What a cannon for an arm.
Back at Forbes Field.
Here's Ty Wigginton.
To tell you a story sometime about Billy Muffet, who he told me about facing.
Is that one of those stories, old Mad One, where we have to talk off the air? Is that what you're telling me?
No, it's clean.
Okay, good. I like those stories. Some of the other ones are better, though. I got to tell you, they are. Clemente Bridge as we head to break. Cardinals lead it 2-1. West, your home of the Cardinals all season long. Al Verbosky, Joe Goldberg, Dan McLaughlin with you. Glad you're with us from beautiful PNC Park in Pittsburgh, where a couple of storylines have developed tonight. Mark Mulder has really pitched like the ace we thought he could. He's been that good here tonight. And the Pirates, a couple of times base running wise, have helped out the Cardinals in particular in what would have been the game tying run. Like Scott Rowland could have taken the ball and run him down at third base, and they waved him home.
Waved him home, and Mulder only allowed 2 hits, 1 run. It's unearned, as a perfect throw from Reggie Sanders to the plate was dropped by Molina.
Rowland on the first pitch from White, hits it to Wilson. Over to first. And Scott Rowland tonight is 0 for 4. Our Budweiser What's on Tap tomorrow at 5:30 on FSN Midwest. We hope you join us. Joel Goldberg will have the pregame show. We'll come your way with the game coverage at 6, but pregame show at 5:30. I think it's a game that a lot of people are excited about. The first appearance of the season for Matt Morris. He'll go against Josh Fogg.
April 19th, going into spring training, people were predicting as early as May, and then there was even some late projections of June when Matt Morris would make his first start. So way ahead of schedule with his shoulder surgery.
Here a shift is on for Edmonds. Will he lay down a bunt like he did in the World Series? Wilson, the shortstop, is near the bag at second. Well off the line, and deep at third is Ty Wigginton. This will be the final inning of work for Rick White. He's due up second for the Pirates in their half of the 8th. Took over for Williams, who lasted 6 innings. Edmonds on a 2-0 delivery, hits it to second. Freddie Sanchez over to Darrell Ward, 2 down. And it's up to Reggie Sanders. He's been active tonight out in left field. And also at the plate. He has singled and scored in the second, struck out swinging in the third, and flied to left.
Right up against the wall. The gap between 378 and 410.
Cubs jumped out to a 5-0 lead at Cincinnati. That game is now tied 5-5.
It's another game where Kerry Wood this time was presented with an early lead, couldn't hold on. Last one he was pounded in the first.
1 ball, 1 strike on Reggie. Cardinals with 6 hits. Mark Mulder has allowed just 2 tonight. And a lot of ground balls. So Taguchi on deck. Outfield shading Sanders to right center. Jammed a bit. Pops it foul and out of play. Reggie hitting .242, 4 homers and 8 RBIs. The only final in baseball this afternoon. Boston beat Toronto 12-7. Yankees leading their game against Tampa Bay 15-7. That's in the 6th inning. 2 outs, nobody on for Reggie. He's in the hole with a ball and 2 strikes. Sticks the bat out. Second baseman to his left, Sanchez. The Cardinals go 1-2-3. Mulder will face Ross, a pinch hitter, and then Matt Lawton coming up. Cardinal baseball on FSN Midwest is brought to you by Jack in the Box. Jack invites you to come in and experience ciabatta. It's all about the bread. And by your local Chrysler Jeep dealers. The banks of the Allegheny River, PNC Park in Pittsburgh. A gorgeous night for baseball. Paid attendance tonight. Announced crowd of 11,220. As Mulder is back to work, the Cardinals have a righty and a lefty up. They advance out of. Look at his line. Only 2 hits allowed. He is fantastic. This one is hit in the air. A lazy fly ball to center. Jimmy's got it for the first out. And Bobby Hill will be the pinch hitter. You know, when you were asking what the Pirates got back from all those trades with the Cubs,
here it is.
You got it, Bobby Hill.
There's a little more, but I think this is what's left, and now he looks like he's being called back. Is that Makoviak? Yep, Ron Makoviak. Pinch hit.
So Makoviak will be the pinch hitter. Ground ball outs tonight from Mark Mulder. So here's Makoviak. Be careful here. This guy's got a little pop. Fastball on the inside corner for a strike. And we presume, Al, that Jason Isringhausen is unavailable tonight after pitching in all 3 games over the weekend.
That is our assumption.
Cardinals with a lead of 2-1. Ray King was back with the team yesterday. He's getting loose in the bullpen. Tavares as well.
It would be likely with Izzy out, one of those guys would close out the game if needed.
And he got him. He carved him up on 3 pitches. Let's go pitch by pitch. Mulder facing Makoviak. And this is brought to you by your Mid-America Chevrolet dealers.
You see the sinking fastball on the inside part of the plate, and Molina set up away, and the ball is on the inner part of the plate but ties him up, and then he really locks him up like a cutter, but some of those looks like he's not quite finishing off the pitches.
Here's Matt Lawton. First pitch fouled back. He's trying to tie it up with 1 swing of the bat.
Mulder here, 2 outs into the 8th inning.
And this was the guy we expected to see after the trade with Oakland.
Yes, and hopefully he can build on this performance. But this is Mulder-like. Ground balls, in control. Not giving a lot of leeway. His teammates only getting 2 runs, but he's making it hold up.
0-2 the count on Matt Lawton. Backhanded play, nifty play by Pujols, flips to Mulder, an easy bottom of the 8th for the Cardinals left-hander. We move to the 9th. The Redbirds up by a run. Cardinals baseball from Pittsburgh on FSN Midwest was brought to you by Bud Light, fresh, smooth, real. It's all here. Good work by Rick White out of the bullpen in relief of Williams for the Pirates. He went 2 innings. Now they'll turn it over to Brian Meadows, right-handed pitcher. He's been around for a while. 5+ innings so far this season at an ERA of 5.06.
This is his 7th appearance of the season. He's turned in 3 scoreless appearances the last 3 times out of the chute.
Let's play manager now. You look ahead to the bottom of the 9th. And the Pirates will have Jack Wilson, Jason Bay, and Craig Wilson, all 3 right-handed hitters. And you figure if you're going to need to go to the bullpen, that right-hander would be Tavares to come out of there. As Taguchi grounds it to second. 1 out. And with 1 out here in the top of the 9th, let's throw it over to Brent Stover with a look at the Midwest Sports Report. All right, Brent, thank you. Yadier Molina, the hitter, 1 for 3 on the night. showing bunt and pulls back and takes a strike.
Well, Mulder looks like his night is through as Larry Walker's at the on-deck circle. He was second in the baseball major leagues the last 4 years with 22 complete games. But
Molina up the middle on a 2-hit night for Yadier Molina. Mark Mulder has thrown 96 pitches on the night.
And he's through.
So we're going to see Larry Walker as Julian Tavares will be called upon in this 9th inning. After Jack McKeon, Mark Mulder goes back out there with all the complete games that he has been able to get out of his starters, from A.J. Burnett, 2 by Dontrelle Willis, but not for Tony La Russa with Mark Mulder tonight.
Well, I think you know, he's pitched so well, and he struggled the first 2 times out, only pitching a total 11 innings. It's a close ball game, so you make sure that he can only be the winner and turn it over to Tavares and see if he can handle something, you know, when the few days that Izzy will be down. But sure would be nice for Larry Walker to get some insurance runs here.
I wouldn't be opposed to seeing Mulder go back out there for the 9th, but I understand the thinking of Tony La Russa. As Walker hits it to the opposite field, on the move Wilson, he won't get there. That helps out as it skips past him and goes to the wall. Runner is being waved in, and the Cardinals have added insurance. Boy, that is huge out there as Molina scores, and it's 3-1 Cardinals, and now the decision looks beautiful.
Yeah, it's in Molina. To score Molina from first base, you know you have to let that ball skip around out there. It looked like Craig Wilson was a little, you know, kind of a little casual in going over to this ball, and it skips on by him. You know, he's just kind of thinking, oh, it's not going to do much, but it's going to slice away from him. Molina runs hard, but just not a lot of speed, and he comes all the way through.
And that is your Bank of America higher standard. How about that? Yadier Molina scoring from first base. The Cardinals get some insurance, much needed. And now it's Eckstein. And a strike to David Eckstein. Molina at first is being waved home, and then you can see he's getting the stop sign right there from Jose Oquendo.
He's sitting there going, no, 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 but they messed up the relay throw. It skipped by the initial cutoff man.
Eckstein with a fair ball down the third base line. Walker being waved home. The throw to the plate, not in time. Eckstein adds an RBI, his second on the year. He's been on base 3 times tonight. Walker, the big pinch hit double RBI. He comes around to score, and the Cardinals have a 4-1 lead here in the 9th.
That's what this team can do. It can beat up on these middle relievers. Here, just right over the bag, playing well off the bag, and Eckstein, look at it, the grass is higher. Remember you said his grass is higher. It slowed down, and Jack Wilson got to it, threw the ball home, but Larry Walker is a very, very good base runner. 38 years of age, but he still has the skill and the knowledge.
Rudzelonic opposite field hit. Eckstein around second base. He'll go into third base. Cardinals trying to pour it on here in the 9th.
You think this team doesn't appreciate the job that Mark Mulder did? They're trying to make sure he knows that he's going to get his first National League win.
Let's see Albert Pujols just bust out right here, and Mulder all smiles right now.
Ben Williams going out to talk to his pitcher, but let's look at Rudzelonic. We talked about it earlier. You know, he's the ability to hit and run. Opposite field there, inside out swing, ball was up and in, and yet he hit it down on it and hit it to the right field side. This is the offense that, you know, good pitching can slow it down, can stop it, but all of a sudden you get guys in there that don't have a lot on the ball and making pitches in the heart of the plate. They can punish you.
Fun to watch, isn't it? When they get things going, hitting on all cylinders, so to speak, they are fun to watch. And now it's Pujols with runners at first and third. Albert, a rare 0 for 4 night. He was robbed last time up by Darrell Ward over there at first base. Took a hit away from him as he tried to shoot a line drive towards right field. Meadows is getting pounded here in the ninth. He's allowed 4 hits after retiring So Taguchi, the first man he saw. Rolling on deck, Pujols looks at a ball outside. Runner at first is Grudzielanek. Runner at third, David Eckstein. Ninth inning, 4-1 Cardinals.
I think they would surprise somebody if they put on the squeeze.
I know 2 guys would be pretty surprised. But knowing Tony La Russa, really nothing surprises me.
Some guys, it would be surprising if they got that sign, but Albert he'd get it. He'd pay attention. He might think why. But
I think we all would.
Well, sure we would.
But he would do it.
And
the ball gets away. Eckstein will score. 5-1 Cardinals. And some boos from the fans here in Pittsburgh. Also moving up on the plank. Grudzielanek to second base.
Wild pitch. You know, if Tony thought that would be the best way to win, he'd do it. Breaking ball and just doesn't get the shoot down. Goes right to the wickets. Deflected off his heel. Went towards the Pirate dugout. And everybody moved up a base.
3-0 on Albert Pujols.
3 runs in the ninth here. That's nice insurance. But don't stop. Now they'll put him on.
So the intentional pass to Pujols. Runners at first and second for Scott Rowland, who was 0 for 4 as well. Long night here for Lloyd McClendon.
Looks like it stops Albert's 7-game hitting streak.
Rowland has flied to left, struck out, flied out to right, and has grounded out to short. An 0 for 4 night for the Cardinal third baseman. If the Cardinals can hold on tonight, they'll improve to 7-4 on the young season.
5-1 on the road.
That was a staple of their team a year ago, winning away from Busch Stadium. First pitch to Rowland, in there for a strike. Edmonds on deck, and Jimmy was the man that got things going for the Cards. If you're just joining us, back in the second, Redbirds grabbed an early lead with a solo home run by Edmonds to center field, an RBI triple by So Taguchi. That was all the scoring for the Cardinals prior to this inning. They have plated 3 here in the ninth. So runners at first and second. Grudzielanek at second base. Albert Pujols, the runner at first. Scott Rowland would love to hit number 3 right here. Count is even. A ball and a strike. Ryan Vogelsong, number 22 for the Pirates, a right-hander throwing in their bullpen. Cardinals have a righty and a lefty throwing.
Cali.
Bottom of the ninth, we'll see Wilson, Jason Bang, Craig Wilson.
Jimmy Jornell.
3-1. Rowland's average at .222. He can be selective here, as you see Jornell and Cali throwing. Head in the count, 3 balls and a strike, and now time is called.
Cali and Jornell, the last 2 to be called up with injuries, disablements out of the bullpen.
Ball 4 outside. They're loaded for Edmonds. The second walk handed out by the right-hander Meadows. He's allowed 4 hits and 2 walks. One of those walks intentional. Here comes Lloyd McClendon. 2, 3, and 4 in our Ford Key matchup against Mark Mulder tonight. Just go 1 for 8, so he neutralizes the middle of their lineup and pretty much neutralized their entire lineup, allowing just 2 hits. That's your Ford Key matchup. That's it for Meadows. He'll hustle off the field. Here's some boos as he does so. And Vogelsong will trot in from the bullpen for the Pirates. The Cardinals a 10-hit attack tonight. We're in the ninth, and they lead at 5-1. This copyrighted telecast is presented by authority of the St. Louis Cardinals LLC and may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form, and the accounts and descriptions of the game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of the St. Louis Cardinals LLC. Well, the bases are loaded, still only one out. And the batter will be Edmonds. It's 5-1 Cardinals. They have played at 3 here in the ninth. Meadows has been taken out of this ball game. The right-hander Ryan Vogelsong is in for the Pirates. He has gone from their starting rotation to their bullpen.
He made 26 starts out of 31 appearances last year. This is his 4th relief appearance. ERA at 7.
And this is the 8th man to come to the plate for the Cardinals here in the ninth. And the first pitch inside to Edmonds with Sanders on deck.
Already 4 runs, but why not get that 5th? The grand slam still can't tie you.
1-0 pitch to Edmonds. Shoots it foul and out of play. And again, looking ahead to the bottom of this inning, Jack Wilson, Jason Bay, and Craig Wilson. As the Cardinals add to this lead, it might be the perfect time to see Mr. Jurnell.
Well, Tony really wants to see him. You know, he's throwing a lot better this spring than he had at any other time. He's healthy, and Marty Mason has told Tony that times he's thrown in the bullpen, he's looked outstanding.
Inside Edmonds, heading the count, 2 balls, 1 strike. That one at 93 miles an hour. Pirates have loved the arm of Vogelsong, but he's not been able to put it together. Bases are loaded for the Cardinals center fielder. Edmonds looks at ball 3.
You know, Dan, you got a lot of scouts now that look at the raw talents and skills of people, but sometimes you don't see the inner qualities, things that make you a winner.
Tavares back up for St. Louis in the bullpen. The 3-1 pitch. Edmonds opposite field. It is slicing and foul, out of play. So Jurnell along with Tavares, who's back up for the 2nd time, throwing in the bullpen. Bases loaded, 1 out, and a 3-2 pitch will be coming here to Jim Edmonds.
Tavares back up. You have to believe he's coming in.
Yeah, you just don't get him back up for the 2nd time and not use him. Edmonds with a solo home run. He has walked, he has struck out, and he has grounded out. The 3-2 pitch to Edmonds. Pops it foul and out of play again. Good cut from Jimmy. Chicago and Cincinnati tied 5-5. That's in the 8th.
Bases are loaded for Rich Aurelio. And nobody out for the Reds.
And they're loaded right here with 1 out for Edmonds. The next pitch to Jimmy. Inside, ball 4. And another RBI for Edmonds tonight. That's 9 on the season. And that's the 4th run the Cardinals have scored here in the 9th to make it 6-1. And it brings in Reggie Sanders, the 9th man to come to the dish in this inning. That's 3 walks handed out by the Pirates in this inning. 2 by Meadows, and the first here
4 hits and 3 consecutive walks.
The bases are still loaded. Sanders, Reggie sitting on 4 home runs, and a check swing. He went around. So Taguchi started the inning as he grounded to second base. Then it was a base hit by Molina up the middle. Walker with an RBI double to bring in Molina. RBI by David Eckstein with a base hit. Grudzielanek with a base hit. Intentional pass to Pujols. Roll and walk to load him up. Bases loaded walk to Edmonds. And now it's Sanders with the bases loaded. And time called. Cardinals have gotten a terrific start out of Mark Mulder tonight. He allowed just 2 hits in his 8 innings of work. Reggie fooled again on that pitch. Couldn't hold up. Ball just exploded out of the hand of Vogelsong. Boy, that thing explode or what?
That's a Hardy's hot pitch. As you see, he's looking breaking ball, and he gets the express right upstairs, and very late, an awkward swing as he just blown the ball by him. Right off the grill from Hardy's.
Or Hardy's hot pitch. Reggie's setting him up, Al. Here's the 0-2. Or not. Right down the middle with a called third strike. 2 down, and it's Sho Taguchi for the second time in this inning to come to the plate.
You don't want to make this 2 outs in an inning.
Wouldn't be the first, won't be the last, but you know he doesn't want to do it here.
He's already got 2 hits in this game, 2 for 4.
Choking up on the bat, takes a pitch on the outside corner for a strike. Cardinals with a 5-run lead here in the 9th. They have plated 4 this inning. One pitch in the dirt, blocked nicely by David Ross.
Trying to overthrow a breaking ball there. David Ross have a pin cushion. Kind of hard to stay in that rotation when you can't get your breaking ball over. And as a reliever, you can pump gas for a short period of time. Breaking ball in the dirt.
2-1. On deck will be Molina. Cardinals with 2 in the second and 4 here in the 9th.
Molina's got 2 hits. He broke out. Remember, he also had another line drive taken away from him. A fine play by the right fielder.
Here comes a 2-1 pitch to Sho Taguchi. Line drive, base hit into right field. 1 run in. Here comes another. The throw will be cut off by Ward. The 3rd hit of the night for Sho Taguchi. 11 for the Cardinals tonight, and it's 8-1 St. Louis. 3 hits on the night for Sho.
And 3 RBIs for Sho Taguchi. And away and gets on top of it, hits to the right side. And you have to think his mindset was he was thinking that way and going to the opposite field.
And here's Molina. He scored the first run of this 9th inning for the Cardinals. All the way from first base and an RBI double from Larry Walker.
Remember running through a stop sign. Who would have thunk it that you would have had 6 more runs.
Molina, hot shot, knocked down by the 3rd baseman. That should be a base hit, and everybody's going to be safe. And the bases are still loaded. And we'll have a second pinch hitter in this inning. It's going to be Roger Cedeno. So Molina, 3-hit night.
Just base hit off the glove of Wigington. Molina's not going to get many infield hits.
And he's not going to think about this, an infield hit, and he scores from first in the same game.
Right.
There's the switch hitting Roger Cedeno.
See that ball there, and you appreciate the glove work of Scott Rowland.
Sure do. Eckstein on deck. If Cedeno can extend it, he looks at a ball with the bases loaded. Cedeno pops it foul out of play. Of course, we have our around the horn defense. How about our Auto Tire first time batting around this season? And the Cardinals have done that for the first time, and we want to thank our good friends at Auto Tire. Your new spot with John Ronzig is just fantastic, Al. I can't tell you how well you performed in your new spot with John. I mean, it is outstanding work.
Is there a jealousy there?
No, never. Still jealous at Malcolm Briggs. Never you, though, Al.
Wow. Vicious right over the dugout into the stands. Cardinals have 6 hits and 3 walks in this inning. Molina's got 2 in this inning.
Everybody's all right down there. thankfully. And our count is a ball and 2 strikes on Roger Cedeno with the bases loaded. Roger fights it off, busted inside.
It's our guess that Tavares was going to pitch the same, but now that they've scored 6 runs in the 9th, you sure wish it would have been Jornell.
Roger takes a ball, a little low, 2-2. Cardinals still battling with each at bat. I agree with you. If you're going to see Jornell, this is the time to do it. Up 8-1. Inside. One of the most exciting plays in baseball coming up. Bases loaded, 2 outs, and a full count.
Most exciting play is everybody's on the move.
There go the runners. The 3-2. Cedeno rips it into right center field. That gets down. All 3 runners are going to score. Roger on his way to third. He's going to stop right there. A bases clearing double. 11-1 Cardinals.
What did you say about Molina? He scored for first base. He's done it twice in an inning.
We're loving it. And folks, this is tonight's Bud Light play of the game. 3-2, 2 outs, bases loaded, and a rope off the bat of Roger Cedeno. 3 RBIs on the play with the double by Roger Cedeno to make this 11-1 St. Louis. 9 runs here in the top of the 9th for the Cards.
Nice going, Roger. 9 runs scored in the Cardinals' 9th.
How about the 9th spot in this order this inning? 4 RBIs with Walker and Cedeno. 2 pinch hitters.
2 extra base hits.
And Abraham Nunez will be the hitter. Nice round of applause for Abraham after nearly 10 years here in this Pittsburgh organization. Playing with a fractured rib. The collision at a play at second base against the Cincinnati Reds last Wednesday.
This is his first at bat since that time. Did not go on the disabled list. Said he'd play if he could tolerate the pain, but now with the several days in between, I'm sure it's well on its way to healing.
Well, the Cubs had a 5-0 lead in Cincinnati, and now in the 9th inning with Danny Graves on the mound, they are trailing 7-5.
A lot of people talk about the Cubs, and rightfully so, but surprise team could be Cincinnati.
They were very good at the beginning of the first half of last year. Kind of fell apart. Injuries didn't help with Junior going down. Some of their pitching. And Lloyd McClendon, another long night in that dugout. 11-1. Los Angeles on top of Milwaukee 4-1. That's in the 7th. Houston and Atlanta scoreless in the 6th. Ball in the dirt.
You know, it's look at the Yankees, 15-8
in the 7th after what, 13-1 they led in that game.
13-0, I think. Initially, 13 runs in the 2nd inning.
And the one thing about the Yankees, Al, that's a team that's not getting any younger. And you wonder if age has caught up with some of those players, whether it be Bernie Williams, Mariano Rivera. I mean, Ruben Sierra is another one. Tino Martinez another. He's unbelievable, but at 42 years of age, what can you get out of Randy Johnson? Probably a very solid year, but still he's 42. Nunez, a rope, and it is caught at second base. Sanchez takes a hit away. Cardinals plate 9, 11-1 St. Louis. Well, the Southwest Airlines starting lineup has been shut down for the Pittsburgh Pirates tonight thanks to Mark Mulder. Boy, was he tough. He allowed 2 hits, and one of those to Craig Wilson, the other to Freddie Sanchez, and that has been it. Now you wonder where the Pirates would be if they didn't run themselves out of a couple of innings as well, as Mulder walked 3, and that gave the Cardinals a little life. They easily could have tied this game up. They did not, and so the Cardinals turn it over with an 11-1 lead to Jimmy Journell.
Journell, recalled from Memphis prior to Friday's game, pitched in 3 games for the Redbirds, allowing no hits or runs behind 5 strikeouts, throwing the ball much better. He's had a lot of injuries.
And he will work from the stretch, and the first pitch is high to Jack Wilson. Jimmy Journell out of the University of Illinois, where he was a closer. The Cardinals had to be patient. Became highly touted, and now Wilson hits the deck as Journell had to recoup from Tommy John surgery.
Tommy John surgery, then he had shoulder surgery. He had a cleanup procedure on the elbow, and Jack Wilson was getting a good look at the stitches. Lloyd McClendon knows a young pitcher out there, but there he goes.
And that was back in 2003 when Journell was struggling at Memphis as a starter. He went to the organization, said, "I'd like to go back to the bullpen in some capacity. It's where I feel most comfortable," and that's where he's at. Now he's in a group 2-2.
To be honest with you, I think going to spring training, not because he has a good arm, he was probably on the roster, but was not thought of. And he got there, and to his credit, he opened some eyes again.
2-2 pitch. 97 on the gun from Jimmy Journell.
The other ones that looked like they were harder were like 91, but that one says 97 on the in-stadium gun. Got a little slider too.
2-2 pitch. Wow. Throwing hard. 94 on that one. After the first 2 were a little wild, he settled in and threw some gas.
Why not take advantage of that wildness, effectively wild, and painting the outside part of the plate? You're not going to get somebody to dive over the plate after that second pitch right at your coconut.
Right.
Especially in an 11-1 game, guys kind of say, "Oh, I'm not going to get myself hurt."
Fastball, little in to Jason Bay. A year ago, in 2 days, when Journell was on the DL, he underwent surgery to repair a small labrum tear in his right shoulder. So it was just about this time last year that he had that tear. The count is 2 balls and no strikes with 1 out. Cubs trying to mount a comeback. 1 out in the 9th in their game. They have put up a run on the board in the 9th at 7-6. And it's 3-0.
No strikes.
And ball 4 to Jason Bay. One of the things with Journell before is that he could not throw strikes, and control was an issue. And when he gets to this level, excitement would take over, mechanics would elude him.
Well,
kind of rushing everything.
Not mistaken, made his debut in Kansas City, and the arm that we were told about didn't show up that day. He got battered around, and you kind of said, well, it'll be a long time before he comes back. So you have to be very happy for him that he battled back through all the injuries.
Albert Pujols playing behind the runner at first base after the walk. That's a ground ball left side. Can they turn 2? Rolling. Grudzielanek. Yes, they turn the double play. And the Cardinals win it 11-1. They're now 7-4 and in first place in the NL Central. 7-4 record leads the National League. Brought to you by Jack in the Box. And we're back with more in just a moment as the Cardinals win the first game of this brief 2-game set.